Travis. So we'll just walk and talk. This is Travis Goldstein. He invited us over to his private collection over here. So Travis, how do you get into bonsai, Travis?
Well, I think I started the way a lot of people did. I watched The Karate Kid and started getting interested in it. From there, I was working as a fashion model, ended up in Japan. And when I saw the trees there, I was just blown away. It's absolutely incredible what they had, worked on for hundreds of years, and just real pieces of art. And that's when I was hooked on it.
And how old were you when that occurred?
I was about 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so then from there, I came back to California. I found Moss and Gary at Chikugoen, started hanging out with them and doing a little bit of work for them, and the rest is history.
Yeah, it's very cool. So let's check out your personal collection in the back. And so you moved here recently?
Yeah, I moved here about 3 years ago and just kind of started tearing everything out, putting a few things in. This is an olive tree that was sitting in the backyard, and dug it up, decided it wanted to be bonsai.
Nice. You want to talk about your collection of pots here? This is impressive.
Yeah, this is stuff that I've acquired over the years. The different people that have had auctions and sales. A lot of stuff that I've brought back from Japan. Got some stuff that different pot makers have made for me when they decided they wanted to start making bonsai pots.
That's really cool. Yeah. You want to talk about your stand? These stands are pretty ingenious. I love it.
Well, nice use of the bonsai bench boards, and then just a couple of blocks. Nice and simple, but.
Are they one block? They're 12.
They're 2x10 the boards, and then just using the 8x8x16 cinder blocks.
So you're looking for a pot storage solution? It's not a bad idea. I like it. I see you're a pot collector too.
Yeah.
I think we're all pot collectors.
Definitely.
Any of these trees you want to talk about? One of your favorites?
Well, I don't exactly do favorites, but there are ones that I have an affinity for. Really, a lot of the ones that I like the most are the ones that I've created with friends, or they have a bit of a background like that. Around the corner here, I've got one that an old friend of mine he dug up when they were doing some construction on the 101 freeway about 35 years ago. And then from there, he took it and he gave it to a friend of mine who ended up grafting it. And then I took it and did the carving work to it and started styling the foliage, and that's where it is.
Travis, get right by it so they have an idea of scale. Because it's a nice chohin size tree.
Yeah, something that I can actually move on my own.
So that was a freeway tree then?
Yeah, they actually had dug it up from the side of the freeway, and they had just thrown it on the side of the road. And as he was driving by, he said, "Hey, can I have that?" And after looking at him like he was pretty strange for a while, they said, "Sure, go ahead."
Oh, it's a freeway tree. I like that. That's really cool. It's really carved really well.
Yeah.
Let me get a little closer.
Some nice character to it. I mean, the termites did a lot of it.
Do you have any legacy trees you want to talk about?
Well.
Oh, if you haven't seen that, let me pan to the yard. You can see this is a view. So you can't have a pool, still have bonsai, everybody. Look at that view. It's beautiful.
This is another one that's looking a little strange at the moment because I started peeling some of the bark off, but...
Yeah, so it's peeling bark, if people don't understand. Is peeling bark a good thing, bad thing?
Well, it depends on the situation. For the most part, I like to leave the bark natural. But then you have some people that like the look of that. The red bark, it has a nice contrast to the dead wood. I find the tree is usually healthier when you leave the bark on, but then you're leaving a place for bugs to hide. So it's a bit of a trade-off.
So, you like the bark on?
For the most part, yeah. There's a lot of things that I'll do. I'll keep the trees a certain way 99% of the time, and then if I'm going to actually show it, I'll do things like stripping the bark and, you know, getting the topsoil finished correctly, put on some moss and things like that.
Just walking around really quick. Let's go over there. I've noticed you don't have a watering system, so everything's watered by hand, I presume.
Sure is.
So you're not the only one. I'm getting a cue that you like watering trees, viewing every morning.
You know, it's kind of a form of meditation for me. It's how I wake up. I don't drink coffee. I get up in the morning, I come out, eyes half open, and I start watering my trees. And by the end of it, I feel awake and have a nice clear head. And it's a nice way to wake up in the morning.
You're not the only one. I think you're not the only one here. You want to talk about cork oak?
Well,
anyone have a good story to talk about?
I can't say any of these ones right here have the greatest story. I do have something to show you, though, if you want some information. There's little details like this that you want to really watch out for.
And what we're looking at right now.
Well, we've got this tip that has decided to just bend over. It's laying down like this. And,
Okay.
you know, normally we would have it straight up like that. But what this tells me is that I haven't been doing the best job of watering. And so we probably have some dry spots. Even though the top of the soil is nice and wet here, this tells me that these haven't been getting sufficient water. And so that would be a reason to go back through and really soak the pot, make sure that the center of it has gotten, you know, absorbed all the water. And by paying attention to little things like that, you can catch it before the plant actually starts to get damaged. You know, once this gets some water, it's going to just perk right back up.
Well, see, that's great to know. You know, people, this is why you kind of wake up in the morning, view your trees, are like, oh yeah, I got to water
That's
that
right.
one.
Well, you know, people have different kinds of water meters that they use. This is my water meter over here. Got that pot. I actually have bonsai soil in that. And so this tree is the most sensitive to drying out. So I'll take it and I'll soak it in this pot here. And then once it's had a chance to dry out, this will be the first thing to actually start wilting. All of these leaves will just come down. It'll be very obvious.
Oh, that's kind of cool. So this is your canary in the cage?
Exactly. I can look out the window and know, okay, it's been a little too hot.
That's pretty cool. You know what kind of plant that is?
I don't. I got it from Ted Oka.
Ted Oka.
It was
Wow.
part of his collection, and yeah, it's been my water meter.
So what is your bonsai mix that you use? Do you have any particular like blend percentage?
I adjust it a little bit depending on what I'm doing, but typically I'll use the Akadama Scoria pumice mix.
Okay. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3.
Typically 1/3. For some stuff I'll go heavier on the Akadama.
Okay.
You know, depending on how much money I want to spend on that particular tree. But
What are you doing about watering? So are you doing watering once a day, twice a day? Because you're in Thousand Oaks, so this is a
Yeah.
little more on the drier end of town
We're
here.
definitely a little drier. We have more of the desert climate, and so I end up having to water twice a day out here during
Okay.
the summer. You can get away with once a day, but we had that heat wave that came through, just unexpected heat wave, and things weren't watered well enough, and the ones that weren't really suffered.
Okay.
So
does your wife water for you when you're not here?
no wife, me and the kids.
Okay,
and,
so you're the
yeah. I'm teaching the kids how to water, and
Okay.
so they've been helping out quite a bit with
So you got
that.
the bonsai kids now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, but it's considered a form of meditation. That's what I've been telling myself, so I can excuse spending 2 or 3 hours a day watering.
That's good to hear. I like it. Let's talk about one more tree. It's that California juniper. We have to talk about that one. It hasn't been styled yet, so what's the story behind that?
Well, this is one that I actually got from a friend. He moved away to Tahoe and decided not to take it with him. So it's been just kind of hanging out, trying to get healthy again, and eventually I'm going to style it. It's a nice, impressive tree. You know, it has a good trunk to it, but not a whole lot of a story to it.
It's a nice old California. It looks like it's been in there for a good couple years.
Yeah.
So Travis is really cool. He has more than about half an acre here. I think the other impressive portion that he has is down below. You want to kind of, we'll do it like just a view from below. We won't walk down there, but he has like a perma garden, or permaculture, which is you know, you grow your own food in your own backyard. And he actually has this whole like location down here. Check this out.
This is part of my morning routine. I come and water, and as I'm watering, I can pick some berries and have my breakfast. And come down later, get a salad. But it's my playground.
What I noticed, you got some bonsais kind of mixed in there, so it's kind of like a twofer down there.
Yeah. This is sometimes I'll spend all day back here pulling weeds, watering, fertilizing, just taking care of everything.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's walk to the front. I know your front's kind of impressive too. So, for 3 years, okay, so mind you, only being here 3 years, you really changed that front. The front looks. Do you have any before pictures?
I do. Really, before it was just a flat green lawn, and had a few trees growing, just a little hedge in the front that I thought about making some bonsai out of, but didn't end up happening.
So in 3 years, going from a flat yard with a circular driveway, probably, right? Because the hardscape was here.
Yeah. The hardscape was here. This was all just lawn. I came through with a skip and drag and just.
So this used to be front lawn.
Yeah, this was the front lawn. Had a hedge going along the front there, and just all brown grass. So I decided to rip it all out. Brought in the skip and drag and piled up some of the dirt and just started creating. Actually managed to do it all myself, including the big rocks, which is a challenge, but got it done.
You want to point out one or two features you want to talk about?
Well, I guess this would be my main stone of the garden. A lot of fun getting that set. So the idea for me was a bit of symbolization of, we have a mountain range going down into the valley, and kind of a lake almost in the middle of the landscape.
I noticed it's not very traditional. There's not the raking of the stones.
Yeah, I'm not Japanese, and we're here in Thousand Oaks. I didn't know how much I should be trying to copy as much their culture as the art. I tried to create something with the artistic principles without making it of any certain culture.
I noticed you have some bonsais in the front. I mean, they're not really traditional small bonsais, but these are pretty big trees in the front. What's the reception like from their neighbors and from the neighborhood here?
Well, some of the neighbors asked, "Oh, you're gonna actually leave that there? You don't think it's gonna get stolen?" And
they're pretty big. I mean, they're not small trees here.
Yeah, it would take a group of people, and I find that by having faith in humanity, I live a happier life day to day. And so if it happens, it happens. But I'd rather believe that people are going to come and appreciate them and.
That's good. I mean, that's great. And it's different. Most people don't put their bonsais in the front yard. I mean, I have to admit, like, I walked up here and I'm like, wow, he has bonsais in the front yard, but they're not small. You want to walk by a couple of these and see, they're not small trees.
This, I shouldn't say this, but yeah. This is one that if somebody took it, they'd probably be doing me a favor. You don't want to make a forest out of this kind of foliage.
It's just a lot of work.
Yeah, it just
it's a Hollywood juniper, it looks like?
It's a Hollywood juniper. It keeps springing up. I have to trim it constantly. It never likes to get refined. And so I figured we'll see.
But that's a common yard material, correct?
Definitely.
Back in the 50s, 60s.
Yeah, and so it was easy to find the material and find old stuff that you could make it, but Yeah, the amount of work that I have to put into maintaining this one is.
I don't think it's just Hollywood junipers. I think it's any juniper forest. They're a lot of work because I have a femina forest, and that just, I mean, it's hours and hours of just, I mean,
Well,
picking needles out.
That's for those of us that like a little bit of pain. That's the femina forest.
Oh, so
over
you
there.
have one too, I see.
Yeah, yeah, and so I come out and spend a few hours just getting myself stabbed by needles. And
Again, not a small tree. I think you have something going here. Having a really big statement tree in the front really kind of like brings that that Zen kind of quality to your household here. I think.
Well, a lot of it too is what happened when I built this garden. I met so many neighbors coming by saying how wonderful it was, how much they liked being able to come and see it. And so I kind of ran with that and decided that I'd like to share some of the bonsai too. I have a lot of nice people walking by and
That's one way to share, your joy, your hobby with the neighbors. I think that's really cool to do.
yeah.
You have one or two tips for our viewers that's into bonsai?
Well, I would say it's not exciting, but watering. Watering is, to me, the most important. That's more important than all the other ways that you want to try and keep your tree healthy. If you can be consistent with the watering and, keep the tree happy that way, it's going to be stronger against the bugs. It's going to be stronger against if you're cutting too hard, all the different things. The tree is going to be much happier with consistent watering.
Cool. You're not the only one that's been saying that too. So, I think it must be a Southern California thing. Well, thanks Travis for letting us come by, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks for coming by.